Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is gonna be a series of podcasts I want to do. I want to talk about Africa. As a fuller man, I want to share my my so-called knowledge, my wisdom about you know diasporans looking to go back. If you're someone that you miss your culture, you've been in Europe for so long, you're becoming a bit disorientated with all this noise. You think, okay, now it's time for me to go back to my culture. I miss my culture. I miss I miss Africa. I want to go back to Africa. I want to start something, or I'm planning to buy something. I'm looking to buy a land. I'm looking to build. I'm looking to start a business. All of these things. So I wanna talk about these things. I want to talk about like doing business in Africa, setting up a business in Africa, and then learning, and then also dealing with the mentality of the people. That is the one thing that I think it's really really important that you understand your environment, you understand the mentality of the people you're going to. So this is where I'm gonna focus with these podcasts. I want to really target diasporans, people who lived in, of course, who wants to go back, who are dying, because there's a shift going on in this planet, right? With all the madness that's happening in the Middle East, the global South versus the global, the global North. There's a two-world system is about to happen between the North and the South, right? So there's a lot going on. There's a time. It's a time for think. It's a time to think this year, right? Because Europe is in decline. Well, it has been in decline for a while now. So you tend to find a lot of people are looking to go back, and there's a lot of people building back home, right? So there's a lot of diaspora, especially Africans, because those are the people that I know. I have a wide range of many friends from East Africa, from West Africa, where I'm from, and also from the southern part of Africa. And most of them now, they are buying up lands. Some of them got successful businesses. I know one or two people who have a very, very, very successful businesses especially in Guinea Conakry, and few in Rwanda and so on. And these are people with, that's been in the UK. Some of them have a lot of money. Some of them are from the Netherlands. Some of them are from America. Some of them are from, France, and so on, right? So I talk about, shifting your mind, your mindset. Um, like, if I would tell you some of the hardship that I've been through, some of the most that I've gone through, dealing with families, dealing with strangers, and not be able to communicate well because your Pula is not that great. Your French, like I'm mostly in West Africa, Guinea Conakry. Your French is not that good. Well, you don't speak French at all. Um, who wants to, right? Anyway, that's a different story for another day. I will talk about the French. I think as an African living in West Africa who wants to go live in West Africa, you definitely need to talk about the French because they're, yeah, interesting. But anyway, so let's get back to the subject. So we don't want to I don't want to go into different subject. I mean, what I would say, of course, there's a lot of us go want to go back, tired of Europe, just because we're here. Ideally, we're just here to work, get some money, and go back. That was our main priority, well, main objective. You tend to find a lot of people, they just want to come here and work and go back. And I know a few people that just come, that's their number one objective. They got like 3, 4, 5 jobs, working really hard, saving a lot of money, and taking all that money, going back to their country and building. And some of them are very successful, some of them not so very successful, some of them got lots of story to tell you. Some of them you just gotta feel sorry for them. Some of them you can't feel sorry for them because you think they haven't learned their lesson. So yeah, you're at that stage, you want to go back, but you don't know where to start, because one, it's very, 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 very difficult to trust your family members, because they will promise you, they will say, give me this, do this, I'll do this for you, I'll do that. You get down there and it's a whole different story, right? So that's very frustrating. One, because you can't trust. I'm not saying you can't trust all your family members, but there are, I mean, you probably know, you've gone through that experience where you've been sold a dream, and then you give them your money, and they say they're gonna buy you this land. It turned out to be the land doesn't belong to them, or they've eat first. One, they're gonna eat the money and tell you a different story. Second, if they buy the land, it's gonna be with problem. And third, they're just gonna lie to you. But again, not in all cases. I have to be fair minded. Not in all cases. There are some family members, you give them some money and then they'll go and do what you told them to do, and they'll do it and you'll be surprised. But there are some other family members, where one, they're constantly harassing you because they need money, and it seems like their problem will never end. No matter what you do, their problem will never end, and as soon as you got money, there's someone else's problem you have to deal with. So rule of thumb, always look after number one first, and then after you finish looking after number one, go and look after other people. Yeah, but until you learn to look after yourself, there's no really point trying to look after other people. But again, everybody's different, everybody's circumstance is different, everybody's situation is different. So it's really not a straightforward thing as I would like to tell you. And I don't want to sit here and complain or just moan about what family members have done to you. I mean, look, they're probably going to do more worse to you in the future. Yeah. So the only thing I would say is that, do a little bit thinking. We're very good at being emotional, but we're not very good at using sometime logic. And it's understandable because we are very people of emotion, and we have been put in that place. Not all of us, because there are many of us who do a lot of thinking, super thinking, but there's also a lot of us who do zero thinking. So don't make decision based on your heart. Sometimes it's good to make decision based on your head. Yeah, if that's the right word or right phrase to say. It's just to use your brain a little bit, because sometimes, as the English expression would say, if it's too good to be true, then it's a scam. They will scam you, so that's one thing. Change your mindset, and also change your perspective. Sometimes they do think you're stupid because you live in Europe, and sometimes you do think they're stupid because they live, unfortunately, in Africa, right? So that is not the case in most situation. Sometimes it is the case, but it is not the case in most situation. Yeah, they know they're living on survival mode, right? So that mean, they will find a way of getting money out of your hand, and it's natural. I'm sure if you were on their shoes, you would do the same thing. In most cases, you would probably do worse, right? So it's really thinking, really using your brain. And I would tell you some situations myself where, I thought this was legit. Someone, a family member has said this and said that. You blindly give them the money, and it turned out to be it's a scam. They're running a scam on you, and it's a bit complicated because when religion comes into the picture, family comes into the picture, you're kind of at a loss. You have to learn to just let it go. Some people don't, of course, they go through different means, but it's costly, as as one of my friend, who's a very good friend, always say to me, just minimize your cost when come down to things like that. Always learn to minimize your cost. Give as little as possible, and then also invest. If you're not in ground, if you're not in the ground, or you're not there, trying to minimize your cost. When you're in the ground, then you could do whatever you want. If you lose money, then at least it would be at your responsibility. But if you're not at the ground, then trying to minimize your cost. It's really important you minimize your cost, because if not, they're clever. You have to give them a little bit credit because they're on survival mode. They understand that, they think, some of them, not all of them, that money really grows or money is easily attained in Europe, which is not the truth. Me and you know that, because we know, most of us, it's not an easy. Even if you have a business in the UK, or you're working for someone, it's not easy, because you have your expenses, and most people, their liability is always higher than their income, what's coming in. So they tend to spend more money they don't have. So i.e. means they're living on credit card or overdraft. We all been there, and some of us are doing it right now. So it's very difficult. Whatever you have is keeping it and understanding, that you have to use your brain. And again, it's easy said than done, but you have to learn to be less emotional, less reactive. You have to be an actor rather than be a supporting actor. You have to take, as one of my good friend Hack would always say, you need to learn to take baby step. Right now you're crawling. Pretend like you're a child, you're crawling. When you get down there, you have your businesses, you have a place to stay, you have a foundation, then you could start running. But until then, learn to crawl. Take it one by one. Hopefully, that will help. I don't want to talk too long. I'm gonna try to leave it. I'm gonna try to stay between at least 10 to 15 minutes conversation. So yeah, this is part one, and then I'm gonna move on to part two. So maybe next week or so I'll talk about maneuvering around the country. What can you learn from other people, observing other people. What I've learned, starting a business, setting up a business, and working with other business people in the country. Yeah. But as always, I think Africa is the future. Africa will be the future. Africa has a wonderful, vibrant energy, has more youth. You look around the whole West African country. Nigeria has always been going to be a major player in West Africa, and then 70% of the population are like under 30, right? And it's a massive opportunity for you. It's a massive opportunity in West Africa, right? Of course, we're going to talk about coups and what's happening, like with ECOWAS, and also the new bloc in the new kids in the bloc, the new free countries that are planning to start their own corporation, they federation, they call it. So that will be interesting conversation. But let me know what you think. What subject you want to talk about, or if you have an idea you want to join me in a Google Meet or in a Zoom meeting, I'm happy, I'm open. And I think the more we talk about Africa, if you're passionate about Africa, you want to go back, you want to set up a business, and you want to learn, we could learn from each other. I think it will be a very good experience. But all right, guys, well, you know what to do. Trying to like, subscribe, and then hopefully I will do more of these. All right, then, guys, thank you. Bye-bye.